Hola, hola, hello, hello, amigos, amigas, bienvenidos. Welcome back once again to my home in Lima, Peru. Welcome to this beautiful country and this beautiful city as well. And also to our series dedicated to discovering together, unveiling together the wonders of this incredible part of the world. So my name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am your Lima City tour guide, your Peruvian tour guide. And in this series, we've been discovering different destinations of this country, most of them unknown destinations to most international viewers, because, of course, the idea is showing you the off the beaten path every time we do a historical series or series dedicated to destinations in this country. So, well, we continue with this tradition of showing you the off the beaten path or the less known or less visited destinations of Peru. And of course, this time we go to Puno. So, welcome to our series dedicated to Puno. And also, welcome to my friends who are joining today. And today, I must say that I'm honored, besides also having friends joining today, of having my dad who is here. Hola, papá. Hola, papi. Gracias por estar ahí. So, my dad is also here with me. That also makes me really, really happy having his support and his company. So, hola, Natalie. Hello. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. And also, well, this live event goes also to the library of my Patreon site. So if you wish to donate, if you wish to become a subscriber, a supporter of this project, I'm going to be leaving here. It is already tagged, but my friend also Annette mentioned that there is a missing part in the link to my Patreon. So I'll be also sharing here in the chat the full link. Sorry for that little mistake. And well, if you wish to be part of this project, also see the recorded parts of this series. And we already covered Cusco, Lima, Ica, Arequipa. We just ended the north coast of Peru, and now we are starting with Puno, and soon the jungle, the Amazon rainforest, especially Iquitos. Very well. So thank you so much once again. And let's go also. Gracias, Natalie, for the message. Also, well, my dad speaks Spanish, but he will do the very best to also understand English today. So muchas gracias. And I think now we will continue. Also, this the recording of this event will be here in YouTube for let's say general visualization for the rest of the day. Just give me a second. I'll also try to uh, find again our I just found the slide for today, but I'll be posting it in a moment. Just give me a little second. Sometimes, well, we have little little issues, but well, we are used to those and to solve them right away. Okay, so I have the slideshow ready. And as always, if you, for any reason, don't get to see the images I'm projecting, please let me know it. We have an interactive chat here that I'm checking all the time. So the idea is that during the whole, let's say, webinar or presentation, you will have the chance of seeing images. I'm projecting images in this occasion about Puno. And well, as always, this series will be subdivided in different parts. So, for example, the chapter dedicated to Puno, which we are starting today, is going to be divided in different parts. I think that at least we're going to have 4 parts. In the first part, which is this one, we will be talking about geography. We will be talking about where Puno is in Peru. Also, well, the importance of this region and this department in terms of culture, history, also agriculture, and more. So, well, you're already familiar with these maps of Peru. I've been using them for the whole series, and we are now moving south. We're moving south to Peru's, let's say, bottom territory, to Peru's also higher lands, and we will be also going to this magical place that has a history that dates back to thousands of years ago, thousands of years of adaptation into the high plateau. Oh, that's how it's called, high plateau or altiplano. Today, well, we will talk about Puno. Puno is a department located right next to Bolivia. To be very honest, we have lots of similarities with, especially, well, Bolivia's, let's say, highlands, the territory that limits basically Bolivia and Peru has so much like in common, and we look quite similar, and the languages spoke in both countries are very similar. The only thing that divides us is the nationalities, but besides that, we have lots to actually celebrate in common. So you can see on the map on the left, Peru divided in 24 departments. We have 24 departments, and also each one of them with their own curiosities. And I think that it would be great to go now to the map of the physical, let's say, appearance of Peru, the one on the right-hand side, because there you have, I think, a better idea of, well, in which territory we are getting into. Like this territory, and let's say the Department of Puno, it is basically a mountainous territory. It's a territory that is very high. It is cold also. The average temperature in Puno fluctuates from -2 degrees up to 15 degrees Celsius. So we are definitely talking about a land that is cold. It can be considered cold. But also in this map of the geography of Peru, the physical map of Peru on the right, you can see that the top of the department has a little bit of jungle. So that's the northernmost part of the department. And also you can notice the Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world, that is right there. I'll be explaining also a bit more about Titicaca Lake very, very soon. So, well, we are now zooming in also into the department. And the Department of Puno is divided in 13 provinces. We have 13 provinces there. And there is a curiosity about, well, the distribution of population in this part of the country. So you know already that most of the population of Peru resides along the coast. Lima City, my city, well, is definitely the most populated city in the country, with 1/3 of the population of the entire country just there. In the case of Puno, for example, the population is definitely reduced if you compare it to other even coastal locations in the country, besides, of course, Lima. If you compare it to La Libertad, if you compare it to Lambayeque, for example. So the density of population is lesser, but the conditions to live in the high plateau or the altiplano are also very extreme. So why someone would like to live in the high plateau? We will discover that today also. So, and usually the capital cities, is pretty much a rule in all of the country, are the zones where there's a bigger concentration of people. Also, for example, here in the Department of Puno, we have the province of Puno, homonymous province, with the same name. So, but Puno has less population than another very important province, San Roman, and that's very unique, very strange, because the rule is that the capital province, the capital city, has more population. And well, the reason is that San Roman has a city that also, well, in appearance, probably is not the most attractive city we have in the country, Juliaca, but it is a city of well, merchants. It is a city that is characterized by, well, the spirit of, let's say, merchants and trading. So it's a very, very active, economically active city, and there's more people in that part of the department than in the very capital. So, well, you can also see again Titicaca Lake on the physical map of the Department of Puno. We're zooming in again, and notice that there is an imaginary line crossing the lake, cutting the lake in two. So, well, the lake indeed is divided. The lake belongs to two countries. One part of the lake belongs to Peru, and the other part of the lake belongs to Bolivia. It is hard to know exactly how much of the lake belongs to one country or to the other, but more or less 56% of the Lake Titicaca belongs to Peru, and 44% belongs to Bolivia. So 56 to Peru, and 44 to Bolivia, roughly, no? But it's almost like similar amount of lake for both countries. And we know that millions of years ago, well, Titicaca Lake was formed, as well as other bodies of water that are now gone, that are extinct, from the melting of glaciers. So between 1 to 3 million years ago, it's very hard to know exactly with precision. Well, there were lots of glaciers in this part of the country, and even the lagoons produced, and lakes, and gigantic lakes in some cases, produced by the melting of those glaciers, took over a bigger extension of territory. Going even until the nowadays Lake Popo in Bolivia. So, well, this is a land that actually is naturally losing its water. So, and here you can see the elevations of Peru, the elevations in this country, and especially if we focus in the department of Puno, are incredible. Peru is a land of, well, coastal deserts at the sea level, and then we go to the highest peaks of the country that are over 22,000 feet, or over 6,000 meters above sea level, like Huascaran in the department of Ancash, and then we go down to the jungle again, and we can even continue and reach Brazil if we go in that direction. So, well, you know already that the Department of Puno is also very diverse. Puno has most of the territory is in the Andes. It is characterized by, well, having a big plateau, high plateau, pretty much like, for example, if I think in other, maybe more famous example will be Tibet. So those high plateaus, like where Tibet is located, well, in the case of that plateau, it was formed by the clashing of, well, two continents, and well, the natural movement upwards produced by this clashing of plates, basically. In the case of the seismic activity that we have in South America, the element that produced, well, the pushing and the elevation of this plateau is the effect caused by the impacting of the Nazca plate under the Pacific, impacting against the continent, South America. So this impulse also has made that, well, this section over the course of millions of years ago elevated. But well, we have the plateau, and we also have mountains, lots of mountains. So the city of Puno, capital of the department, is at 3,827 meters above sea level. That's over 12,000 feet above sea level. It's like very, very, very high. It's one of the highest cities in the world with this amount of population, of people, that lives in that location permanently. And also to go to Puno, if you're a tourist and you're doing the classic circuit of the sun, Ruta del Sol or Circuito del Sol in Spanish, that goes from Cusco to Puno by bus, you have to take the route that goes also across the Pass La Raya. Later, you're going to see a picture of that place. And that means you will have to cross that path that reaches over 4,000 meters above sea level. That is over 14,000 feet above sea level. Well, that's something you should do. There's no other way to go to the other side. And we have also really high cities in the department of Puno, which are not, of course, well, the most populated, the most densely populated, but they are important because they are associated with mining. Also, that's the case of La Rinconada, which later we'll talk about. La Rinconada is the highest city in the country, permanently inhabited, and also, so far I know, I was trying to find also the corroboration of this information, because in most sources it's the highest city in the world with permanent, let's say, inhabitation. Also, it's not seasonal, and that city is 5,100 meters above sea level. Is at 5,100 meters above sea level. So it's incredibly high. Okay, and of course it's a mining city. That's the reason why it's so high. But keep in mind that also Puno has a jungle section, Sandia, and well, that zone is also important for the identity of Puno. Well, I don't want to burn the surprise. I'll tell you a bit later why. So now let's go to well, the Titicaca, the Titicaca Lake. Such a beautiful location, such a beautiful place, and very important, especially for the identity of the Andean communities, altiplanic communities of that region of Peru and Bolivia also. And I tend to be very cautious when I talk about things that are related with identity of the high plateau of Peru. And I always try to give a recognition to Bolivia, because, well, the limits we have nowadays between our countries were limits that were imposed to us. They were not real limits. It's not that there were differences between the people of one side of the lake and the other side of the lake. The limits were imposed after the independence from Spain. And well, the creation of Bolivia and the separation of Bolivia from Peru, from the viceroyalty of Peru. Of course, Bolivia was not Peru per se, because our creation as nations, as independent nations, are, let's say, more related at both, let's say, both of these countries, with a process that happened pretty much at the same time for them and for us. But the societies who live there, well, we're brothers and sisters for thousands of years. Also, this is important to be noticed, and that's why there are so many similarities also that sometimes also create issues and fights, and let's say, like a sort of like ill-intentioned, let's say, let's say, or ill-intentionally moved, sort of like a political separates us instead of unites us. distance we are. So Titicaca Lake, its name also is very curious. The name Titicaca, which means is coming from the language Aymara. Aymara is one of the languages that we have in Peru, one of the 40 languages that we have in Peru, official languages that are protected by the government. Some of them are spoken by millions of people, like, for example, Quechua. Aymara would be the second most spoken language. And we have languages that are spoken by just few hundreds of people in the jungle, and they are all considered protected. So Aymara is a very rich language, and the origin of the word Titicaca comes from, well, two words in this language, titi and caca. Oh? And titi refers to a feline. For a long time, I hear that, that feline was the puma. And also, most of the translations of the word Titicaca mention first, well, Titi, let's say the interpretation of Puma, and Caca, meaning rock. Also, I hear that the word caca could be related with a color, sort of like gray color. So uniting, the product of uniting these two words would result in the puma in the rock, or the rock of the puma. And there's something very curious, because from the air, and this is a picture of the Titicaca Lake, but it's upside down, by the way. It's upside down. So from this angle, you see, I don't know if you see what I'm seeing. You see a cat. There's a feline that is hunting could be a rabbit, an Andean rabbit. We have also some species of interesting rabbits there. And it looks like a, let's say, like I don't know if it's the reason why the ancient people name the Lake Titicaca this way, but it looks like definitely the shape of a feline. But of course, that this could be just, well, a curiosity, and not necessarily associated with the reason of the origin of the name. In some, let's say, investigations done about the origin of Titicaca, probably existed in the pre-Hispanic times a rock or a special waka that was used to worship the uh, feline that existed in the lake, maybe in one of the islands, probably the island of the Sun that nowadays belong to Bolivia. So Titicaca, which means the rock of the puma. So I gave you also here some numbers to give you an idea of the size, the dimensions. For example, well, the elevation of Titicaca Lake is at 3,812 meters above sea level. That's about 12,000 feet above sea level. It's really high, really high. And also, the maximum depth of this lake is at around 284 meters. That's about 922 feet, more or less. So it's a very deep lake. You know that it's also very ancient, very old. It was formed between 1 million to 3 million years ago. And well, also the length of this lake is also very big, about 190 kilometers long, 80 kilometers wide. So there are lots of communities, indigenous communities, that also depend currently of Titicaca Lake. Without the lake, they wouldn't be able to exist. And it is not just because, well, they obtain like fish from the lake or water from the lake. It is also related with the temperature in the atmosphere, and how pleasant the lake does, well, the conditions, even though I mentioned already that it can be very, very cold in the high plateau. It can be really cold. But without the lake, it could be way too extreme. Like, for example, if around the lake in cities like Puno, the temperature in winter reaches to zero, in zones that are higher in elevation and distant from the lake, the temperatures can drop to minus 15 and even less. So without the lake, the temperatures in here would reach to be very, very cold. Or the let's say lake, what happens with it and why it's so important is that it absorbs the humidity, it traps the humidity during the daytime. It traps, sorry, the sunlight, sorry, or the heat produced by the sunlight, and it releases that heat at nighttime. That's what is so important. So, well, this lake keeps like a radiator, also irradiating heat when it's necessary. So, well, this is just to give you an idea of the importance of Titicaca Lake. But what about the name Titi? What Titi means? I mentioned already that Titi could be associated with, well, the puma, but in Quechua, and in the pre-Hispanic understanding of things, Puma, well, was not the Titi. No? Puma is Puma. And as well, well, in Aymara. No? So this animal that you see here is probably the reason of the name Titicaca. So what you're seeing here is not a puma, it's a way smaller feline from the high plateau. The name of this feline is Gato Andino, or Andean cat. And the Gato Andino is a very shy animal. The length of this cat is just 80 centimeters long in average. It could be a little bit less, a little bit more. And it is in risk also of disappearance. There might be about 1,500 specimens of this type of cat still existing in the high plateau. And this is an animal that needs the conditions of the high plateau. They cannot really make it in other conditions. They are just fully adapted to the temperature, to the fauna, to the flora. So, well, this is where they should be living. And sadly, due to the first of all, the aridification of many of these zones, due to also, well, the use of these spaces in a different way. So from being natural spaces in the Andes were turned into rural zones, or even officially included into the layout of cities. So their natural habitat is now being depredated. The also, well, killing of these creatures due to, well, the skin of them is also highly appreciated. Well, that's also creating a big problem against, well, the numbers of these cat. So, and in order to promote the understanding and conscientization of the preservation of species like the Andean cat, well, some years ago, the National Bank of Reserve of Peru coined some coins of 1 sol with the image of the Andean cat. So there you have the coin of 1 sol of Peruvian, the Peruvian money is the soles, and this is a limited edition, of course. So, and more about the Andes, and in this case, the high plateau, the Altiplano. So let's also understand what Altiplano means. And by the way, if you have questions, you're free to use the chat also. Well, don't be shy with questions. I love to hear what you think about this event. And also, if you want me to do or cover other events, you can also use the chat here. And if you see any problems in the transmission, also let me know it. So sometimes I can also fix things more easily from my end if I am advised also, like if there's an issue. Also, gracias for that. Thanks for that. So, altiplano. Altiplano comes from the union of two words. Alti, coming from alto, high, and plano means flat. Gracias, Natalie. Gracias, querida. Thank you, thank you. So, alti, high. So, what type of vegetation we see here? Ichu. Ichu is this grass that you see there that it never really gets like a nice lively color. Oh, buffering. Oh no, no, there's a little bit of buffering. So I'll try to disconnect first. Thanks, Natalie. Let me know, all of you who are with me. Thank you so much for your participation. If you're having problems with the internet, also, you will do me a great favor if you can also refresh on your site. Sometimes it happens that is on the local internet. Mhm. And now you are back, but no images. Yes, I disconnected the image. I disconnected the image just to make sure that everything is stable, and I'll share again. Gracias, Natalie. You are my number one helper. Also, let's see if there is any. So, is it like better again? Hmm? And also keep me posted if there's any situation in which again something like this happens. Very good. Okay, so I'll try to go in and out if that happens again. So well, I was saying that the high plateau is a zone that is exposed to higher amounts of radiation. The radiation there is extreme, is really, really high. And not everybody can really live in the high plateau. That's why also the communities, the indigenous from the Andes, well, they have darker skin as a way, natural way for protection, even darker than mine. I am indigenous too, in part, but the people from the high plateau, they are characterized with a more melanin in their skin, dark hair, so that in a way protects them from the radiation. But also, well, the plants that grow here, they are naturally adapted. And a curiosity, for example, is that potatoes were born around the Titicaca Lake. So this is a zone also that can produce interesting forms of life, animal and also, let's say, vegetable life, flora and fauna. So well, you don't see trees here in the high plateau. It rains, but it rains very little. It rains, let's say, approximately, I would say, like 20 centimeters of rain per year. There will be times in the year when a little bit more, also going to 50 centimeters of rain per year. And most of the year, also about 300 days in the year, there is blue sky in the high plateau. Also, there are not really much clouds, and clouds mean no rain. No clouds, no rain. No, so the raining is minimal. When we have rain there, so they are formed different like lagoons that are called bofedales, and also in some cases the bofedales come from the underground. So those are like little like watery holes or wetlands that are very important for the fauna that lives in this part of the country. So but also, when we think on the high plateau, we don't think just in a big high desert almost. There are mountains there, and Puno has a lot of mountains. Puno has apus, as we call them, these deities, these gods that took form of hills, of mountains, according to the mythology of the people of the Andes. One of them, for example, is Capia Hill, which Capia means arid land. And I'm very sure that Capia might come from Aymara, which is one of the most important languages, as you know, of the country, and widely spoken there in the department of Puno. So we have also another site there, and I already mentioned a bit about this place. This is La Raya Pass, and La Raya is pretty much the limit between the departments of Cusco and Puno. Both departments are one next to the other, and this location, this is a viewpoint to the hill that you see there. Also, another important landmark of this location, and but it's also an official stop for souvenir purchasing. There are people who work in the, let's say, nearby towns that are fully dedicated to tourism, to the tourism industry. And even though, well, this location is at 4,335 meters above sea level, you will still see people that are working hard without excuses, with no excuses, also, and attending tour groups every day. So, and next, well, let's talk about a little bit of the fauna of the high plateau. I already mentioned that the flora, the natural flora, the non-domesticated one, is basically, well, the ichu, which is a very important food for animals. I'll tell you in a moment which animals depend on the ichu. And also lower than that level, we have other trees adapted to the extremely high elevations, like the queñuales, but they are very special trees, and they are also, they need to be protected because we've taken most of their lands and spaces, and those trees are so important because they keep the soil like firm in one location, avoiding, for example, with disasters. So trees are important. Trees also bring water up, as they have natural process of absorption of the water from the phreatic table, in a way also keep humidity in the soil. So trees are so important, and in this case also other minor, let's say, vegetation forms, like for example bushes and the ichu. But well, we were talking about water, and these watering holes and these lagoons that are formed in Puno and in the Altiplano. And this is one of my favorite animals from the Altiplano. We have here flamingos, parihuanas in Spanish. And the flamingos that you see in Puno, but there are different types actually of them. There are three species of flamingos that we have in this part of the country. And of course, flamingos are free and they move and they go to the north of Argentina, they go to Chile, they go to Bolivia. So their passports are stamped all the time. They are just moving around. So what we need to do is guarantee that, well, those flamingos will have resources, permanent resources to continue existing, and protect their homes, their spaces. So flamingos are these beautiful creatures that can also live this high. So we are talking about over 4,000 meters above sea level. And some of them also go to the coast. Well, in this case, for example, we have three types of flamingos in this part of the country. And there are two types of flamingos that are just like in the high plateau, and one of them goes to the coast. I'll explain to you which one goes to the coast. In number, the flamingo that it has like a there are more flamingos, let's say, like the numbers of them is the biggest number. The flamingo that has the biggest amount of population in Peru is the Chilean flamingo. This is the name of this variety of flamingo that you see also here in the coast. Sometimes I take two groups to do birding tours, bird watching tours here in Lima, and we see those flamingos. They generally are here when it's way too cold in the Andes, so they move here during the winter time. So, well, the characteristic of those flamingos is that they are all one tonality or two tonalities between whitish pink to vibrant pink also in their feathers. The color, by the way, the coloration of the feathers of the flamingos, this pink coloration, comes from their diet, from the crustaceous that they eat from lakes, from the lagoons, the algae also that they eat. So that's what gives coloration to their feathers. Because, for example, when they don't have enough food, their colors, the color of the feathers starts to vanish a bit. So vibrant, like pinkish, like hot pink color, shows also a good health condition for these creatures. So, and one more thing before we pass to the next others. So when flamingos are born, they are born with white feathers. They are white, like swans. So, well, the next flamingo that you see right next to the Chilean flamingo, we're starting, by the way, on the left-hand side. No? So in the center, the ones in the center, they are the James flamingos, which are like, well, and a smaller size in comparison to the three you're seeing, the smallest ones. And also they have this particularity that they have like a triangle, black triangle, below or where the eyes are, basically. It's at the level of the eyes. So that black triangle. And then we have the next one, the one on the right, and that one is the Andean flamingo. The Andean flamingo has as a characteristic, as well as the James flamingo, that have black feathers at the end of their wings and also in the tail. So they are really beautiful creatures. They look so elegant, and usually with the contrast of the blue of the lagoons, them in the pictures is really like to frame them and put them in your living room. So, and well, what are other creatures you see in the altiplano, in the high plateau? Of course, always if you're lucky, no, because these creatures are well, wild. Well, here you can see four cameloids, four Andean cameloids. Okay, two of them are domesticated, two of them are wild. So if you are very, very lucky in the high plateau, you can see vicuñas and guanacos. Vicuñas are an extremely delicate creature. They are very delicate. They depend on having like lots of different conditions, like the space. Also, they need big space to move. Well, the climate needs to be like certain rank. It has to be cold climate, also high, elevated. They need also ichu. They eat the grass that you saw in the previous three pictures behind before. And well, these creatures also don't like humans at all. They are very nervous. They tend to be very nervous. Their behavior is like the deers almost. They are very nervous and very delicate. They are known as the Barbies of the Andes, the Andean Barbies, because they look so pretty. And why they are so important? Well, besides that, it's an endemic animal from this part of the world. Also, their fiber, the fiber of this vicuña is exquisite. It's one of the finest fibers in the world. And it, well, it's so expensive. Like just like deluxe brands, like, I don't know, like Loro Piana, for example, from Europe, can also acquire the fiber of vicuña to transform it later for like more higher price into jumpers, into sweaters of different kinds, coats, and more, valued in thousands of dollars. Well, vicuñas benefit the communities in the Andes. There are also special permissions given to the people of indigenous people, by the way, of these high elevations, of zones that are close to the vicuñas, in, let's say, naturally close to the vicuñas. So the government offers them permissions to shave them. They cannot be killed. The vicuñas are protected. Now they are protected by the government. You can go to jail if you kill vicuñas. So when the shaving of these vicuñas happen, which is named Chaku, is a very important occasion when the communities unite and they go after the vicuñas, and the process of extracting the vicuña wool is just people holding, thousands of people holding hands and like encircling the vicuñas until they are in a, say, in a diameter where someone can go close to them, or like trying to make them a little bit more like ease and tranquil, cover their faces also, and shave them. And the only sections that are shaved are here in the, well, in the chest, below the neck, down. That little part is the one that is shaved. And from there, well, we have these products that are being produced. And that money from, let's say, the raw material, the money goes to the communities, is distributed as a benefit to the community. But by the way, these companies don't pay really lots of money if you compare the final price of the piece like finished. I mean, it's understandable that the pieces will be very expensive. They do the promotion, they have the stores. Hola Manu, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días. Gracias por venir. Thank you. So they do the promotion, they do the advertising, they pay the taxes, of course, where they have their stores in Europe or in North America, whatever. Loro Piana, for example, can sell these fancy jumpers. But definitely people believe that, well, these communities should receive a better payment and opportunities also, to not just depend on this occasional shaving of the vicuña fur. Guanacos, on the other hand, and that's the beautiful creature you see on the image on the top part on the right hand side. So the guanacos, they are not really numerous in Peru. I would say that guanacos are more numerous in Chile and in Argentina, so far I know as well. But in Chile, I've been able to see lots of them. And they have this characteristic of having this, they are very, very tall. They are higher than the size of a human. And they have the gray face, a gray face, and the rest of the body from the neck down. Guanacos, they are not numerous in Peru, but names you see below, alpaca and llama. Well, thousands of years ago, the ancient inhabitants of these territories of Central Andes, and in particular focusing in Peru, thousands of years ago, well, our ancestors domesticated the wild vicuñas and guanacos. By selection, basically, they started to select like the ones that probably like were more curious, a little bit less shy to them, because remember that this is the way how they survive. Being shy, being afraid, they can survive. If they were like too open to be with humans, probably they could be killed by them. But something like the selection that happened with wolves, like also thousands of years ago, and well, turning them into dogs. Well, these ancient Peruvians, ancient inhabitants of this territory, selected some vicuñas, and well, later, after thousands of years. So this selection happened about 7,000 years ago. Some specialists says 6,000 years ago. These vicuñas were turned into alpacas. So the alpacas, the beautiful alpacas that everybody knows around the world, they are the domesticated vicuñas. Mm-hmm. And also guanacos had the same, let's say, destiny. No, guanacos were turned into llamas. The domesticated guanacos eventually became llamas, and we know that like guanacos had one ancestor in common, but also disappeared a long, long time ago. And the connection of the vicuñas and guanacos with Europe and with Asia is because basically more Asia and Africa is that they have an ancestor in common with the camels and dromedarians. Mm-hmm. So they are, that's why they are called Andean cameloids. Well, and also we were talking about Puno. We were talking about the beautiful, good things that happen in this part of the country. But I would like also to tell you a bit about well, the economy, what moves Puno, and also the things that are not really positive for this region. No? So let's start with mining. Mining is a very important part of the economy of Puno. Um, by the way, there are different types of mines there. Silver department in Peru that has a mine of tin, which is very important in the industry of really like many things. It's used in lots of different industries. Tin. So well, here I giving you one example of a famous mine. This is Corani. Corani also is about silver. This is a bit of how rough also life in the mine in the high plateau can be, and you can see some indigenous people from that territory working in the mining industry. But also, mining has a really sad side or a really bad angle. Or sometimes we just see one angle of things, or we are forced to see just one angle that makes us feel more comfortable about certain things. But the price we pay for mining in Peru is very high, sadly, because there is a lot of mining that happens in Peru that is what we tend to call artisanal mining, but in reality is illegal mining. So what is the difference between artisanal mining and illegal mining? Well, artisanal mining, really there's a thin line between one and the other. No? The artisanal miners are miners who generally are people from indigenous communities who also in a very, let's say, traditional way extract like gold and silver, no, which are of high value that they can sell quite easily. But to become an artisanal miner, you need a special permissions. You need permissions from the government, and it's not really that easy. So that's why, in reality, many of the artisanal miners are going to do things that are more going to put them in the informal, let's say, space or illegal space, which means also utilizing systems that depredate or ruin the environment. The use of mercury, for example, which is also bad for themselves, because when you use mercury to also separate gold, gold is highly valuable in these territories, of course. So you need, first of all, to use the mercury, terribly poisonous, and you need later to heat up the mercury that is attached to the gold to release the gold. So you are being affected by the smokes coming from that heating process, and also the environment as well. And you need water too, a lot of water for mining, mining formal, informal, and illegal. It all has the needs requires water. basically, water ends up being completely contaminated, the environment contaminated. There's no chance to grow anything in those places. So it's just a vicious circle. No? Well, this zone, the pictures I'm showing you, are from La Rinconada. Oh, La Rinconada is, I mentioned already, this the highest inhabited city in the country, a permanently inhabited city. It has actually a big number of people living there most of the year, over 1,000 people, 1,500 people permanently living in La Rinconada. But there are times also when they receive people that are not censored, are working in the extraction of minerals, gold in this case. La Rinconada has gold, and it's also a very dangerous city. But well, trash, for example, and the problems that occur related with mining, it's something that makes us also be worried about the future of this part of the country in particular. So, as always, my events are not just about the beautiful things, it's also about the reality. And we need to create conscience about what mining is doing in some parts of the country. So, and life in the Andes is very tough. It's very hard. So if you're wondering, like, why, Vanessa, people go to La Rinconada to live in those elevations, no, and they are there inside those mines for weeks without coming out. No? Well, for example, and I just learned recently that these people like work in some cases for free for most of the month, and they are given just a couple of days in the month for them, and their payment is like all what they can extract from the mine in that day or those 2 days in the month. All the gold, the mineral is for them, is their payment. Okay, so well, that seems to me like something colonial, no? But that's also for them good enough, because if they can really make a like good amount of gold, that could be a good payment for them. No? So the Andes, and especially the high plateau, don't really offer the comforts of the low cities. And now you will understand why not so many people live in the Andes and in this part of the country in particular. While here in the coast, we enjoy, for example, more mild climates. We are at the sea level with humidity that moists our skin all the time. In the Andes, is so dry. The sun is there always 300 days in the year of sun. You can see at nighttime all the stars. The amount of oxygen is less, making also the sky in the daytime also being blue, more intense blue than here in the sea level. That's because of the less amount of oxygen in the air. And at that time, well, you can see the Milky Way. It's really amazing. So, well, the people there are adapted to this reality. They are adapted to cold nights, hot days. So the architecture of the houses is simple and uses the materials that you can find there. Also, materials, for example, like the ichu, this grass that we saw before, that is used to cover the rooftops of the houses. Well, also to keep the houses warm, they use mud to make bricks. So these mud brick houses are excellent for especially the nighttime, the cold at nighttime. Their bathrooms are outside the houses, and this is typical in the Andes, especially. I remember one time I went to the house of a friend in the Andes, in a community in Puno, in Cusco. In Cusco, that was my very first time. I'm going back to many years back in time in my mind, and I was very surprised by seeing for the very first time those houses, very high in the mountains, that were very pretty inside, simple, modest, and pretty. And when I asked to go to the bathroom, and it was nighttime. I was guided to outside the house, so I had to go across a patio to finally go to the bathroom, and it was so cold. It was really cold. um, well, going there, no, at that time. And when I consulted, like why the bathroom was outside, well, they said, like, why would it be inside? Like, they were like, are you crazy? Oh, because bathrooms are, like impure. They believe them to be like impure, not suiting to be inside the house. So I was the crazy one. And I understood that indeed. So they have good reasons, of course, to keep the bathrooms outside for sanitary reasons, outside the house, basically. So, well, and here we can see also, well, a picture of life, the life of people in the Andes, a way more modest life, but also more rich. Sorry, just I'll take this one here. So more rich, more fulfill also, because these people continue having this very close connection with Mother Earth, with their animals. The children also are less polluted, with the technology. But this is something that little by little, also they are getting into, no, technology now. Well, we can have a cell phone with internet everywhere in the world. No? We don't need to be in the big city. And well, the agriculture, and also the raising of alpacas and llamas is a big thing also for these rural communities. Potatoes also, the say harvesting of potato, very important for them. By the way, potatoes were born in this part of the country. We know that, well, about 6,000 years ago, some specialists says even 5,000 years ago, potatoes were domesticated in the Andes, and in particular, like to put you in the map of Peru, or in the Titicaca Lake, in the north of the Titicaca Lake. So that's the Peruvian side nowadays of Titicaca. That is where the potato was for the first time domesticated. And well, it comes from roots. The potatoes, the wild potatoes are like roots. They are very small. They don't look very nice, and they are bitter also. No, but these people, little by little, transform the potato. Our ancestors were able to transform the potatoes into the 4,000 kinds of potatoes that we know we had in our history, and many of them are consumed nowadays also in Peru. 4,000 kinds of potatoes. And we have, well, the other product that you see, that this gentleman is holding, is the quinoa, known in North America as quinoa, but we call it quinoa. And quinoa is a grain, and well, we love it. And quinoa also was domesticated in this part of the country. But also, we have products, or we have, like, let's say, resources that the people of Puno live from, that originally were not from here. For example, trout. Truchas, trout. Trout was introduced into Peru, so far I know, in the beginnings of the 20th century, from North America. So no, not the Spanish. Well, from North America, trout was introduced, and well, sadly, also trouts can be very, they say, intrusive. So that's probably what happened in Titicaca Lake, because in Titicaca Lake, where nowadays there's aquaculture around the raising of trouts for local consumption and exportation also, we also had an other species of fish in Titicaca Lake that they are, in this moment, so far I know, close to the extinction, because trouts, well, ate them. So they depredated let's say, environment. So, well, agriculture is very important in this part of the country too, and trouts also are consumed a lot. So later in this series, in a few days, I'll show you also some local dishes, and trout is going to be present also there. And here you can see the coati, the coati, and we are traveling to the jungle of Puno, of the Department of Puno. Um, of course, we talk lots about the Andes because basically 93% of the department is Andes, but a special honorific mention, a special mention to, of course, the jungle of Puno, Sandia in particular, and also this famous creature, this famous animal that helps the people of that location to produce one of the finest coffees in the world. The name of this animal is coati or coati in Spanish, in Peruvian Spanish, and the coatis help the locals of that part of the country to produce coffee. And how? Well, they don't plant the coffee, by the way. What the coati does is, well, they eat the coffee beans in the stomach, like some of the enzymes that they have in the stomach, like don't destroy the integrity of the coffee, but make or create a reaction in the coffee bean when it is exposed from from the coati. Well, this coffee becomes more intense. Okay, and well, that's how this coffee becomes also more premium. So in other parts of the world, I think in Asia, there's another animal that does something similar. Our coati comes from the family of the raccoons. So, well, it's not a cat or something like that. It's a raccoon, basically. And, well, they are also very, very beautiful. They are very friendly, very curious too. So, well, there you go. And if you want to try something very, very, very original, very unique, and you are in Peru and you are in Puno, or you can also get the coffee of the coati. So, well, amigos, thank you so much for your participation. I really hope you enjoyed today's event. Let me stop also the images, and I have also a bit more to share with you. First of all, let me check on this because I don't have this what I want to share, but just give me a second because I have something to share with you, which is very interesting. So, I have a poll in this moment, and I need you to help me to find out which ones will be the next topics that I will be covering after we finish our series dedicated to the wonders of Peru. So I hope that you are able to see what's in my image. This poll is on my Patreon, so you can also access to the link on the top. I left a link to join to Patreon to see also my site in Patreon, and you can participate on that poll. Please help me choose which event is going to come after we finish with this series dedicated to Peru. And we will be finishing on the more or less the 15th of December. So I need time to prepare this next series that I will be doing. So we have lots of different topics. We have Spanish classes. We have the Pope Leo the 14th. We have music also, and many other possibilities that, well, if you would like them to be included, please click, select, and well, help me please to be able to meet your needs. And also, I highly recommend you all to give a follow to this channel. My channel in YouTube is named Peru History Adventures with Vanessa Vasquez. So we will be having also another event tomorrow. I'm trying to do events almost every day. And you can also see which events are coming if you come to YouTube and you check on the streaming section, also the ones that will be coming soon. So thank you so much. And now I'll stop sharing. So this event is going to continue posted here for free and for replay and rewatch for the rest of the day. And later it is going to my gallery on Patreon. So if you wish to support this project, which I would highly, highly appreciate, you can become a subscriber to my Patreon site. And well, for a very, very small subscription fee from $2 or $5 or 10 or 20, it really depends on you and how much you can support. For me, really is any amount is highly appreciated. You have access to the recordings, and also you're helping me to keep doing more events like this one. So also, last but not least, in the description of this event and in the video, I'll leave you 4 different Facebook groups where I have lots of great colleagues that are doing live streams every day, almost every day, and they are professionals. We're talking about tour guides, we're talking about archaeologists, historians who are doing events, most of the times just tip supported. But also some of them are prepaid, but with very little amount of money you can get into their events. So if you can follow those Facebook groups, that would be super. I also collaborate with all of them. And well, it is great to have the chance of traveling virtually from home, so as we are doing today. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much to my new friends who were here today, and also hope to see you soon. Hope to see you tomorrow in my event. We continue with part 2 of Puno, and we will talk about archaeology from Puno. Thank you very much and see you soon. Gracias a todos. Gracias, amigos. Until the next time. Also, donations on PayPal are highly appreciated. So the information is also here in the video. Chao, amigos. Bye, bye. Gracias, papá. Gracias. Yo también te amo. Gracias por estar aquí. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to my dad who was here today. Chao. Adiós. Gracias, Natalie. Chao. Hasta pronto.